Right, so for today's video, we have some wedding photography drama that has resulted in legal threats for slander. Now, there's two people you need to be aware of in this situation. The first one being Alexandra J, who was the bride at this wedding, and the second person being Hannah Elise Photo, or Hannah Wise, who is obviously the photographer. Now, this situation became public 4 days ago with the first video being posted by Alexandra, but apparently it's been going on for, I think she said about 7 months. It's been 7 months since she got married. So the first video starts off with giving a bit of a summary of what this situation is.
Imagine paying almost $8,000 for a wedding photographer, and when you raised your concerns, they threatened to sue you for slander if you spoke your truth.
Okay, so straight away, this doesn't exactly seem like a good situation to be in, right? She has paid $8,000 for this photographer, something's happened in the middle here that she's not happy about, and now all of a sudden she's being threatened with legal action. Now, we've actually spoke about situations similar to this in the past where people have been unhappy with their wedding photographer. It's usually because someone didn't receive the photos, you know, they've been scammed or whatever. This one is specifically just because the bride just wasn't happy with the photos. And as we go through these videos, we'll see how it just kind of progressively spiraled into, like, legal action, apparently.
Her feed looked so bright, airy, but also had this goldenness to it, and I loved that. But the goldenness that it had still captured the beauty of, like, colors, blue, your skin tone, etc. You can see this is one of the photos from our welcome dinner party the night before our wedding, and it's a gorgeous photo, right?
Okay, well, before we get to the point where shit starts getting a bit crazier, I should have said right there, the photos are gorgeous. She loved the style. It had this, like, golden kind of hint to it, but you could still see the colors. Now, I will actually show you the pictures on the website of a photographer, because it's very important in this situation. Okay, so this is the photographer's website. This is obviously a wedding that she had done previously, and as you can see, it definitely does have like a golden type of tone to it, right? Sepia is what a lot of people are saying in the comment section of this situation, but this is definitely her style. I think a big thing to pay attention to, because it comes up later, is that, look, the sky and the ocean doesn't exactly look that overly blue. You can definitely tell it's blue, right? But it is almost like washed out. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but it sounds right in my head. But yeah, you can tell she obviously has this style of like these golden-y type pictures. So these are the type of pictures that Alexandra would have saw before hiring her.
So this is when shit gets a little crazier. Our wedding day was overcast. Nothing you can really do about that. However, a photographer should know how to shoot in an overcast situation.
I mean, yeah, if you're hiring a photographer, you would obviously expect them to be able to adjust to certain weather conditions. But even just as someone who records videos, I'm not a photographer by any means. I don't really know much about cameras, really. I know, like, white balance, and I know lenses. And that's really it. But even as someone who just records videos on a camera, obviously lighting, specifically with like different weather conditions, definitely changes how the videos look, and it would change how pictures look too. So as much as you could expect someone to be able to adjust to certain weather conditions, it does change things. Okay, so we're now at the point in the situation where the wedding has happened. She has now received the photos back from the wedding and realized that she doesn't like them. But before we get any further with the video, I do just want to tell you about today's sponsor, Aura. Now, internet safety is clearly very important. I think a lot of people would actually be shocked to see just how much of your information is out there. I mean, just looking at previous situations we spoke about on this channel, there have been times where people have used other people's information maliciously. I'm talking their addresses, health records, even relatives' information. And the reason why they're able to do this is because there's data brokers out there just selling people's information to scammers and spammers and so on. But luckily, there's a really easy solution for this, because Aura can actually show you what data brokers are selling your information and can even submit automatic opt-out requests to stop them. So Aura will not only reduce the amount of spam calls you get, but can also protect you from hackers who might want to access your information, like your bank account, your social media accounts, and any other sensitive information. I mean, just to put this in perspective, AT&T actually revealed that over 73 million customer records, both existing and former customers, were released on the dark web, and they actually recommended that those affected use strong passwords, monitor account activity, and consider credit freezes or fraud alerts, which is actually something Aura can do for you just in one app. Look, we all value our privacy, and if you want to take the next step in protecting your online information, you can head to www.aura.com/markie or click the link in the description to start your 2-week free trial. And yeah, I just want to give a big thank you to Aura for sponsoring today's video, and without further ado, let's get back into it.
And then for about 30 days, I'm staring at the photos and I'm like, why is there something bothering me? Like, well, I couldn't put my finger on it. Until I realized I'm a makeup artist, okay? I was a makeup artist in the wedding industry for years. And I did my own makeup for my wedding. And I'm staring at the solo pictures of me and I'm like, I kind of look really pale and my makeup isn't showing at all. Like, my hair has these red highlights in it and I look extremely dull. So I raised my concerns to her and she goes, okay, I charge X, Y, and Z extra to edit photos. I'll edit them to like enhance your makeup and whatever. Great. So what I'm about to show you, the top photo she edited to enhance my makeup. The bottom photo was me in real life.
Okay, right, so we have a couple of examples here. As she just said right there, she wasn't happy with the pictures because she thought she looked pale. And then this photographer has re-edited them. And she showed this screenshot here, which she later says is like a screenshot from a video. This isn't obviously just a picture, it was just a video that was taken there and she screenshotted it. And this is one of the pictures that she was given from the photographer.
That was my makeup shot on just an iPhone picture. What did she put on my lipstick? What blush am I wearing? Like, what is on my eyes, my skin? Everything.
Okay, so she's not happy with the way her makeup looks in the picture. I'm assuming what she's saying here is that the photographer has like enhanced it like way too much to make her lips look like brighter than they actually were. And to be fair, when I go to the photographer's page and I'm looking at the other pictures, it doesn't seem like they've done that in any of the pictures in terms of like enhancing and making things like really red. But obviously her concern was that she looked pale, so maybe that's what the photographer thought would be the best solution. I don't know. And because of this issue, Alexandra then asked for some raw pictures.
So then I raised the concerns to her and she so kindly said, you know what, I don't think we're gonna come to an agreement, so let me send you some of the raws of that moment. So when she sent me the raws, I noticed something. This is the photo that she sent me that I look like I have a black eye in. And this was the raw that I edited to have a brighter, more natural feel. And also I went into my eyes to make them brighter. Then I noticed this photo. This is what she sent me and this is how I edited it. Like, you could see the difference, right? Like,
I can see the difference, and to be honest, I do prefer how the first photo looks, the one that Alexandra apparently edited herself, but also this second photo, to me, does look a lot like the style that's on a page. Like, if we take this photo, for example, that's on the photographer's page, you can see it definitely has a goldy tone to it. Like, the tree doesn't look that overly green. You can obviously tell it's green, but it definitely looks very golden too. So when you then look at the picture that Alexandra edited herself, and you see how she decides it looks better, this looks nothing like what the photographer's pictures look like, and that's very important, right? If you're hiring a photographer, it should be based on the pictures they've done before. You should be able to see their style from them pictures. And look, I can imagine how awful it must feel to receive your wedding pictures, like the pictures for the best day of your life, something that you've been planning for so long, and then you receive them and you don't like them. I can imagine that that is a really bad feeling. But also, if you're gonna make videos like exposing this photographer, you can't then complain about the style that was already on her portfolio when you hired her, and especially because if it does go viral, which it has, it could ruin her business quite a bit, really, couldn't it? And look, I definitely do understand certain parts of it as well. Like, if we look at this picture the photographer sent back with this kind of like goldy tone, her eyes are really dark. You can actually barely even really see her eyes. That to me, again, I don't really know what I'm talking about in a situation like this, but that to me seems like something that could be solved editing and wasn't. But yeah, the actual style of the pictures, like especially the way she has edited them herself, like to say like this is kind of how I want it to look, it's so different to what the photographer actually advertises that I don't think you can use that as like a criticism and be like, this is how I wanted to look when it was so different. And actually, as Alexandra goes on to say, she believes that this photographer is just using presets and isn't just editing each picture individually.
So that brought me to look in even further to every single photo and dissect everything. I then came to the conclusion that I need to reach out to her and tell her that some of the edits felt like they were a preset that was copy pasted and I wasn't happy whatsoever.
Look, I obviously don't know if that's true. There's no way for us to really figure that out. But yeah, I mean, if you're hiring a wedding photographer for $8,000, you would hope they wouldn't just slap a preset on it and say it's edited. And to be fair to Alexandra, she does go on to say, and she says multiple times, that the pictures themselves are beautiful. She likes the way it was captured. It's specifically the editing that she doesn't like in the pictures.
But again, it's a beautiful photo, you know? I'm not discrediting her ability to capture a moment because that she was really good at, but it was the post-edit that I was unhappy about.
And in a few follow-up videos, she shows like examples of the editing that she doesn't like. There's this photo, for example, where there's obviously the ocean behind them that you can't really see. In all fairness, it is very, I'll say washed out again. Still don't really know if that's the right terminology though. And then she shows a picture that just one of the guests took on like an iPhone, and you can see that the ocean isn't clearly that washed out, and you can see the colors. But again, it is similar to the style that was already on the portfolio. I mean, again, in this photo, for example, on the portfolio, you can see that the ocean is fairly washed out. Like, the background just kind of looks white, really. Maybe isn't as washed out as Alexandra's pictures. Like, you can see the blue, especially towards the bottom. But, yeah, this is the style at the end of the day. But either way, we get the point, right? She's not happy with the pictures. So it's at this point in the situation where she decides to call the photographer and try and come to some solution.
So I text her, I said, hey, can you call me? She's like, I'm available at this time. We speak on the phone. I'm about crying on the phone at this point, saying, I'm so unhappy. I need to make my wedding album. Is there any way that I could look through all the raw images and just pick out certain moments that I could then edit myself? I will sign any contract that you want, states that I won't share these photos. They're literally just for a photo album for my family and I, and for Michael and I. And I was practically like begging her and crying on the phone, just saying like, this is my wedding day. Like this would mean so much to me just to be able to get all the raws and edit them myself. I'm not happy. I don't want you to lift another finger, nothing. I will do all the work for you. She's like, you decided that you hired me. You knew my editing style and everything before you hired me. Like, too bad, basically. So now I'm crying even further, and my husband gets on the phone. He's like, please, my wife is so unhappy right now. Like, this is our wedding day. You're holding the photos hostage from us, basically. Like, what are you gonna do with our wedding photos? We're not asking you to do any more work other than just hand them over and we'll sign whatever you want. We even offered to pay her $1,000. She then says it's gonna be $4,000 for all the raw images.
Okay, now I'll be completely honest. When I first watched this video, I was very confused why she was so protective of the raw files. But clearly, after reading the comments, it seems like I was just being a bit ignorant because I didn't realize like that is just a thing that photographers do. Like for example, we have comments here that say, as a photographer, I've had to tell brides the same thing. I'm sorry, but if the edits look the same as her portfolio, they should be fine. But you could ask her to re-edit them. And I've also got a comment here saying I don't understand why they can't send the raws, which is obviously what my mindset was when I first watched this. But people are responding saying, it's all legal reasons. The bride could edit them, a company could pick them up and love them, and then pay the bride thousands to show those images, and the photographer gets nothing out of it. So it seems like this is a thing that a lot of photographers do, which sucks for like both parties, right? Because now you've got this bride who's unhappy with the pictures. She could just go on to edit them herself and love them, but then I also understand how the photographer won't do that because it's like not common practice, I guess. I mean, I would love to know your opinions in the comment section on that type of thing, especially if you are someone who has been married before and you've had to pay a wedding photographer, or if you are a photographer yourself. What should be the solution here? Is this genuinely like just a normal thing for photographers where they won't let out the raw files? Let me know. Now, Alexandra did post a few videos from people talking about the fact that raws usually are expensive and that the photo style was actually on a portfolio in the first place, to which he kind of responded by basically saying that the photographer should be wanting to make their customers happy.
So there is something to do with editing style and versus the Instagram. However, there's also something about delivering photos to your customer that makes sure that that specific person looks good. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't look like she has a black eye.
Okay, so we get a point of view now, right? This is where she kind of starts going on to the whole like legal situation. She firstly like kind of like briefly mentions it at the end of one of her last videos on this situation, saying that she got threatened with legal action.
Especially because she threatened to sue me for slander. And when I thought about it, I was like, you're allowed to give a review. You're allowed to share your truths. You're allowed to share your experience. And there's no one that could stop you from doing that.
Yeah, obviously I'm not a lawyer, but yeah, I feel like she should be able to make these videos and give her opinions without being sued, obviously. But then in Alexandra's most recent video, she actually goes through the emails that were sent here. So this first email is from her to the photographer.
So I wrote an entire email, and then at the bottom I said, let me know if you'd like to send me the raws for these images, or if you're going to edit or find better ones to assist with completing this contract. And then I sent her a literal PowerPoint of like your thing said with the number of images that you wanted that I wanted to explain. So I'm going to show you this. Yes, I'm a little crazy for writing a PowerPoint like this, but I did explain everything in a PowerPoint like this.
Okay, right, so yeah, she was very organized in her criticism, clearly. But it's now at this point that we get the photographer's response.
Then she wrote back that she personally loves the photos and she thinks I'm picking apart like 18 to 19 of them. Me not liking a few photos is not me breaching contract. I provided a gallery consistent with my brand of high quality images. I cannot control the weather or people's facial expressions or the way the light is not bouncing off the water right to make it blue or gray. And then she goes in and states, I will re-edit the photos with the spot on the wall, which she sent to me. I apologize that I overlooked that photo when I was editing pipes out of 100 photos. I will fix that and upload that today. And then she said, I believe I fully delivered everything outlined in the contract and more. I've provided raws I did not need to. I've over-delivered. I've given up creative control to re-edit your specific taste. If there's any further re-editing you are looking for, please send me the exact photos and I will let you know if it's possible. If not, refer to my previous email regarding the raws aka the pricing of the raws.
Okay, so from this situation, she has said that she will re-edit some of the photos, clearly, right? So she's wanting to fix certain stuff. She's also saying that the lighting, like the day, the fact that it wasn't great weather affects the photos, which, I mean, it definitely does. And she's also saying that she's not breaching any contract like Alexandra stated she was at the beginning. We haven't seen the contract. Who bloody knows what's in it? But now it's at this point that legal action is mentioned.
And then at the end of it, she said, lastly, she's consulted with legal advice and blah, blah, blah. The whole long thing about it. And then if I perform slander towards her or any of her employees, she'll legally uphold the law and statutes in the state of Florida. That was the last remarks. And after that happened, I thought to myself and said, I need to now consult, obviously, a lawyer. And on top of that, I did provide her an entire PowerPoint, basically, of all of the stuff that I was looking to fix.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be very curious to see if the photographer does have a case in this situation, because as much as I don't agree with parts of Alexandra's criticism, because the photos are very similar to what is on the portfolio of the photographers, but at the end of the day, she is also just voicing her opinions, and I don't think you can sue someone over that. I guess the only parts that maybe seem like pretty dishonest are the fact that she like re-edited the photos herself to look completely different to the photographer's style and then said she preferred them, so it makes it almost seem as if that's the photographer's style and that's how they should look. I would assume that the photographer doesn't have a case here, but I could be wrong.
On top of that, as of now, she's deleted my gallery online, so I cannot no longer access my photos. In the contracts, it does not state how long the gallery needs to be up for, but all for other weddings from beyond me is up on her, Pixie set, except for mine. And she has now gone on to change her TikTok bio to that sepia photographer to mock me. Her husband is commenting on her stuff saying, keep proving trust fund babies wrong, when that's not the case. So they are going and being pretty petty, in my opinion.
Okay, so a couple of points there. The photos have now been removed from her gallery. She says that that's not in the contract. Like, I guess they can just remove them because they're not contractually obliged to keep them up. But I guess she finds that annoying because if she didn't save the photos, they would now be removed. I would assume F1 downloads the photos straight away. But either way, that might be a problem. Again, I've never been married, so I've never really had to deal with a wedding photographer before. I don't know if that's normal. Also, she mentions that the photographer has now changed her bio on TikTok, which she definitely has. It says, that sepia photographer with a trademark. She also mentions that the husband has been leaving comments calling her like a trust fund baby. I can't find them, so they might have been deleted. I don't know, but she says that they did happen. But what I did see on Hannah's TikTok, the photographer's TikTok, is that someone actually commented saying, send her the raw photos. Hannah just replied saying no. Then someone else replied again saying, lol, then fix the shitty preset editing on her wedding photos. To which Hannah replied saying, respectfully, Carly, please leave unkind speech and cursing out of my comment section. But look, for me in this situation, I can see both sides, right? It's shit that Alexandra's received her wedding photos back and she's not happy with them. I can imagine that is incredibly frustrating and you would want nothing but the raw photos so you can edit them yourself. But then also from the photographer's standpoint, I understand the whole raw photos thing now. And also on top of that, the style in the portfolio is very similar to what Alexandra actually received. I guess the big concerns would be like the darkness like around her eyes, where you can't see certain parts of her face because of the lighting and whatever else. I can see why Alexandra would be annoyed at that. It's just a bit of a shitty situation all around, clearly. But yeah, either way, I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below on everything that we spoke about in this situation, and I'm going to leave the video there. So if you did enjoy, please leave a like on it, subscribe, all that stuff, and until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, goodbye.